10 Middle Eastern beast mode summer fragrances. Yeah, let's talk about it.
Here's some codes to save you some cash on your next Middle Eastern niche or designer fragrances.
What's going on, guys? My name is Neeb. Welcome back to AROMATIX. Today we're going to be talking about 10 hidden gem beast mode summer fragrances from the Middle East. So let's go ahead and get started. These are technically lesser known fragrances, hidden gems, if you will. Some of these you might have heard me talk about. I mean, I'm sure you've heard me talk about a lot of these. So let's just go ahead and get started with the number one fragrance on this list. And this list, or this fragrance, I should say, reminds me a lot of Megamare. If that's your vibes, although this says tobacco, it's far from anything tobacco. So number 10, it's called Spanish tobacco. Spanish tobacco is nothing of tobacco, really. It's marine, it's aquatic, and metallic. It's got mineral notes, etc. Everything you will know and find in Megamare, you will find in this 100 ml, basically. So you get bigger juice, you get a beastly performing fragrance that lasts all day. One of the favorites for a lot of men in terms of the tobacco fragrances. When I initially got my nose on this, I hadn't come across Megamare yet. I didn't know what it was. I was actually taking the notes for face value. It was before I was, I learned that a lot of these companies just take a lot of inspos and basically do that. But then after a while, I got my nose on Megamare and realized, hey, Megamare. Yeah, beast mode stuff. And even then, I mean, it's not obviously going to be a spitting image, but if you're looking for something that smells like it, that's beast mode, that acts like it, this is definitely going to get you close to something like that. A great fragrance if you're looking for summertime, springtime, and honestly, it has the strength to last even through other seasons. But I don't like metallic fragrances to begin with, and I would rather wear warmer, ambery fragrances during the winter time. I wouldn't say you can't dress this up, but you can definitely dress it down in white t-shirt and jeans as well. Price point for something like this, I think it's around 130 or less in the USA. Check the description, you're gonna find all of these for the lowest prices for sure. Moving on to the next one on this list, this is actually really good. If you like Kirke, Erba Pura, Suspiro, all of those vibes, you're gonna like Solid Black. Solid Black by Arabian Oud kind of takes that whole vibe and adds the signature Middle Eastern musk, which is dry, it has slightly woody undertones, and it masculinizes the scent profile in itself. So definitely more masculine than something like Erba Pura, and more fitting and suited for a man, genuinely, rather than Erba Pura in itself. This smells better, it's a bit muskier, and definitely more masculine. And performance on this thing is beastly. It lasts all day, it projects all day. This smells like you're in the tropics, like strong, loud, fruity, a little bit musky, a beautiful fragrance with a slight undertone of vanilla. So if you're about those vibes of just like cut up fruits and stuff, that's definitely what this one is going to be. And offers you more of a masculine edge, basically. A great fragrance, and one that I will always recommend for high summer heat from Arabian Oud. And a lot of Middle Eastern niche fragrances or niche brands, just Middle Eastern brands in general, they don't really do many freshies. Like, it's more so French fragrances that do freshies. So it's very limited whenever I'm looking, at least in my collection, for more fresh, beastly fragrances from the Middle East. And generally, Middle Eastern fragrances are beastly to begin with, because that's what we look for. But even then, like, most of our scents are not really fresh. Like for us, we'll wear Imperial Valley during the summertime. It works. It works for us personally. It's like Mat Mubakhar, which basically just incensed water. It wears like that, basically. So in a sense, I guess, in that sense, I would say that Imperial Valley you absolutely can wear during the summertime. But for the sake of not having, do we put it in this list? Whatever, 11 list, here you go, bam. Imperial Valley. It's kind of got like this Halfeti cedar, Halfeti leather, a little bit more watery. It's easier to wear, etc. It's a great fragrance that will last all day, beastly performing, but you do have to enjoy more woody, oudi style fragrances. Yeah, definitely can work during the summertime, and in fact, the next fragrance we're going to be talking about works even more during the summertime, and it's a beastly performing fragrance as well. This is called Marj by Ahmed Al-Maghribi. So what this one does is kind of take a similar DNA and adds a bit more fruits like pear, tangerine, making it a bit more summertime appropriate, but also adding a little feminine touch. Although this DNA is relatively unisex, I find it to lean more masculine. So Marj, in my opinion, takes it right back to the perfectly unisex territory. Ladies and gentlemen can rock this. I know a lot of guys were like, oh, it leans slightly feminine. I rock this, I had absolutely no problem, and I find it to be a little bit brighter and easier to wear during the summertime. Although both of these are not going to be like the definitive fresh fragrance for the West, they're still summer fragrances in the East, or appropriate to wear in the East. And I mean, really, as far as appropriate, the Ombre Nomad would be appropriate for the summertime, but generally speaking, if we're talking about fresh, then we wouldn't include that, and that's why you're not gonna see a lot lot of like La Thany, Ignite Oud, Ombre Nomad, because I still believe a lot of those to work in the summertime. And you're gonna be seeing future videos and lists of oud fragrances you can wear in the summer, oud fragrances you can wear in the heat, etc. And those definitely will be coming. So let's get back to the summer fragrances though. Fresh summer fragrances, and this is another one also by Ahmed Al-Maghribi. So ladies and gentlemen, Ahmed Al-Maghribi has some beast mode fragrances that does stand up to a lot of these Middle Eastern niche fragrances, and that's why they're somewhere in between, you know, the Middle Eastern cheapies and the niche in terms of their price range, but their performance, they give you the best of both worlds. This is called Oud Lavender. Oud Lavender is like, think of Xerjoff Acento. So another fragrance that revolves around these fruits, bright, fresh, etc. Except that this one is going to be a little bit more about the fruits and less about that vanillic musk. This one has a balance of all worlds, and this one is definitely going to pack more of a punch in terms of just the fruits. So Xerjoff Acento is similar in a category of family like Erba, slightly different as well though, obviously, but this is definitely a beast mode performing fruit fragrance that'll last all freaking day. Moving on to the next one, this is called Atyab al-Sheikh, Graceful. And Graceful reminds me a lot, except much more peppery and spicy, of something like Elysium. If you like Elysium, this will definitely remind you of that, but let me emphasize this, it is much more peppery. I mean, it adds like probably a double dose of pepper, maybe a little bit of oud in there as well, but it still places me, it's got the backbone of Elysium, just covered in a lot of pepper, like a lot. And the aromatics in this fragrance is definitely dosed up as well, creating more of the herbal kick as well. So it's not going to be as fresh, but it's still a fresh fragrance in the East that lasts all day. The projection on this is absolutely insane, but you have been warned, it is very, very spicy. And honestly speaking, for me, I have no problem rocking it, and I love the addition of the pink peppers and the extra spice. It just makes it kick that much harder, and I have to spray it a lot less, but be careful because it is, like I said, did I say it yet? Spicy. Moving on to the next one is another one from Qissa Perfumes, and this is called Capri. If you remember Profumo, which unfortunately got discontinued, reimagine it with a lot more frankincense, some resin vibes, that's basically what this one is. Kind of strips a little bit of that incense away and adds more of that benzoin nature, which creates more of an ambery feel to it, but it's absolutely beast mode stuff. Aquatic, woody, dry, it recreates this gradient or this color scale, honestly, in a scent profile. So in terms of performance, all freaking day, the price point, $130 worth every penny. It performs better than most designers, period. And in the East, they do have it better because they get it for cheaper, but check the description. Like I said, you can find the lowest prices here in the United States, and they're authentic. That's something you guys should definitely consider, is authenticity. I myself, when purchasing some of these fragrances, I had like that was a big deal for me. And anybody that I found authentic, we have those links down in the description, basically. So the price, considering everything, the occasions, you can dress this up, you can dress it down. It's a beautiful fragrance that'll work all year. It's a freshie that works all year. And that's the case for all of these, actually. This will work all year, this will work all year. I mean, solid, there's definitely gonna be a better and more appropriate, similar to Spanish, but in terms of longevity and performance, all year for all of these. If you wanted to, you definitely could. Moving on to the next one, if you like imagination, you're going to love this because it's neroli tea and it's called French Tobacco. French Tobacco is 200 mLs of this gigantic imagination style fragrance, basically. It'll definitely remind you of it like by about 85, close to not 85%, I will say. And it lasts all day. Super heavy, and you basically shower in this stuff. I mean, considering the size of the atomizer, I mean, like, come on. Oh my God, I wish I didn't do that. But regardless of the fact, this is thick, fatty, indolic style of neroli, along with that very signature tea. And yeah, I can smell the tea pretty good, pretty good. That's actually ridiculously good, like in terms of like how close. Yeah, that's really good. So in terms of occasions, etc., this isn't one that I enjoy. I don't like imagination. And so I'm gonna leave that one blank because for me personally, I wouldn't wear it. But there are a lot of people, wow, I can taste that now. But there are a lot of people that actually enjoy this fragrance. And for those of you who do, then it's up to you. I've smelled people rock this on a daily. I've smelled people at the grocery store wearing this. I would say that you can wear this during the spring and summertime and maybe even during the fall time, but that's about it. But around 130 bucks, 200 mLs of beastly juice. Come on, man. It's absolutely insane. All right, we've got about 4 more. We're making this a 12 list. Let's go ahead and talk about number 4. This is called Blanco by Sidra. So I talked about this a while ago, actually quite some time ago, and this is a fragrance that reminds me and will remind you a lot of Kirke because of the fact that it has that Erba Pura vibes, and Kirke in itself reminds me of Erba Pura, just a lot more musky and very similar to these other fragrances. But the one thing that makes this one different versus the solid black and the oud lavender is that it adds a bit more of like this feminine white floral, slight coconut feel. So yes, more musky, but still creamy at at the same time as well. Slightly more feminine. So although adding a bit of musks here with some woody undertones, a bit more masculine, and this one kind of adds some musks, but not too much, still keeping the fruits the star of the show. This one adds some musks, maybe a creamy vibe, and some florals as well. So it's still definitely unisex, and a lot of guys have purchased this off of my recommendations because I would recommend it for guys as well. It just adds a more floral aspect to this entire style DNA, and I personally love floral fragrances like Musk Therapy, and if you like Musk Therapy, then you're gonna love this fragrance in itself, and Kirke, because Kirke smells like if you were to blend aspects of Musk Therapy with Erba Pura, that's what you would end up with, in my opinion at least. And this one does pretty much that. So think about that, gentlemen. If that sounds like it would be good, Musk Therapy meets Erba Pura, that's basically the vibes I get from Kirke, and that's basically what you're gonna get with this. And this is stronger than Kirke for sure, but it does have a little bit of this spice at the end that makes it slightly different than Kirke as well. So Kirke doesn't have that per se. It's got the florals, it's got the creamy musky nature and those fruits. This one just adds a slight tinge of a spice at the very, very end. It's like when you pull it away from your nose, you'll smell that. But I think it might be responsible for the longevity. It might be some kind of fixative or chemical compound that allows this one to really last a long time, because that's exactly what it does. It's a fresh, floral, fruity fragrance that lasts the entire day and projects the entire day. And generally speaking, for quality or scents profiles like that, you're not always gonna get that. Moving on to number 3. This is called Colin Diamond Iris, and this is by Ibrahim Al-Qurashi. This is a fragrance that's definitely more masculine, and it reminds me a lot of Hachivat. I wouldn't even say Aventus because it does have a very signature, distinctive style of soil. And that's the biggest difference between Hachivat and Aventus. Although they both smell like Hachivat smells like it's inspired by Aventus, rather than using just like oak moss, it kind of uses like soil. I find that to be there. And I honestly, I appreciate it differently. I have a different vibe or feeling for both of those fragrances. And because of that, it makes it significantly different in itself. So although reminiscent and maybe in a backbone somewhere has some relationship, different enough. So even if it is inspired by, does not necessarily mean it's the same thing, right? It could be inspired by and be an old-time new creation. And that's the way most things in the world work. So inspirations are actually a great thing in my opinion. And that's basically what I find Colin Iris to be. If you like Hachiva, it's not performing for you, this absolutely will. But this coats you, man. It actually like coats you. You will feel the fragrance. So if you don't like that, this is absolutely gonna do it. But aside from that, this is a great fragrance. I'm personally not the craziest about Hachiva. I do enjoy it, and the most reason that I don't enjoy it is because of the fact that it doesn't perform. This actually solves that issue. So there you have it. It's about 90, I would say maybe 85, 90% close in my opinion to Hachivat. And if that sounds like something you would enjoy, this is something that lasts longer and projects harder than Hachivat. That's the thing with the Hachivat. It doesn't project at all for me at least. And the performance like 6 hours anyway. Moving on to the next one, number 2, this is called Asaf Frankel Silver. So when I initially like looked at it, I was like, Frankel Silver, Then I sprayed it on and then I was like, wait, what? And sure enough, Frankel Silver is Silver Mountain Water clone. It's like literally 90, I wouldn't say 90, maybe 85%, but this is beast mode stuff, you guys. You don't have to worry about reformulations, current batches, etc. You can count on your boy to find you some hidden gems, and I've personally, honestly, I already have a lot of hidden gems. It's just a matter of getting these videos out there to you guys so you can enjoy these scent profiles that smell like $1,000,000 and perform like $1,000,000, because that's what we're all about. It's just I wish there was more time in a day. But regardless of the fact, you guys are gonna see them because we're gonna pump them out in videos just like this. And just when you thought we were done, we've got one more. This is called Thany Fanny. This is called Thany, or Thanae. I'm not sure exactly how they're trying to translate it from Arabic to English, and I'm not sure exactly what they're trying to translate it to. This is absolutely beast mode stuff. And the way that I found out this was beast mode is I was already wearing like 12 sprays of something else. I gave it one shot on my forearm, literally one shot. Walked into Sam's Club and it was the only thing I could smell. Went back home, showered, and it was still freaking there. It smells like Platinum Ego East. And actually when I was walking out of Sam's Club, I kid you not, I swear, so help me God, it got me a compliment. But it was an older woman, and that's gonna lead me to what I was going to say. It smells like a classic, more old school style DNA. It smells like Platinum Ego East. So kind of gives me these barbershop green vibes. It definitely has this vetiver sandalwood, but you know, barbershoppy as well. Very strong and masculine and in your face. If you like those classical style fragrances, Yeah, this is absolutely phenomenal stuff. It's so important to note, I don't think it smells exactly like Platinum Ego East, but it'll put you in that category or territory. Platinum Ego East and those other barbershoppy, really barbershoppy, those are not really my specialty. Like if you ask me about barbershoppy fragrances, I'll say Bond Number 9 is one of the better ones. You know, I know what Chanel Ego East smells like, and it's not really my forte. Dracar Noir, Nico Sculpture, but all of those, that's the kind of the vibes that I get with that. And Platinum Ego East is a bit fresher and greener, and that's kind of what I'm getting with this. I get a leather, patchouli, some kind of aromatics, a barbershop vibe as well. It's extremely beast mode stuff, and honestly, even though it's not really my forte, it's a really good quality smelling fragrance from the house of Junaid. I grabbed a bunch of their fragrances. We're gonna be talking a lot about more of these. If you enjoyed watching this video, make sure to leave a like, hit that subscribe button, and until the next one, peace.